Dale Carnegie once said you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. This is the Producers Lounge Podcast, the best podcast online for tips and tricks on producing great film, television, and web content. Welcome back for Season 3, Episode 9, hosted and produced by GreaterandGrander.com. On this week's episode, we're chatting with Evette Vargas, who has produced independent shorts, interactive media, and television pitch materials including Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Chronicles Chapter 2, and The Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. We discuss competing in the Cannes Film Festival, what makes a good transmedia franchise, and how to strike a balance between projects that pay the bills versus projects that fulfill your dreams. Evette is currently active in the development world, taking part in writers' rooms for Amazon and many other large companies. Here now is my conversation with Evette Vargas. What would you like? Do you want a coffee or?
Iced coffee would be.
Yes,
what?
Coffee. Yeah.
Ice. I would love a decaf. Decaf. Yes, with the almond milk.
With almond milk.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Briefly, maybe out of almond milk.
Do you have? Oh, okay. I'll do that. Yeah. Thank you.
You want drink?
I'll just stick with ice water.
Just the ice water. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is a great jacket.
Thank you. Thank you. I got it in Cannes, actually.
Oh, in Cannes?
Yes. Yes, I got it in Cannes. I don't know if we had I don't know if I had a chance to even mention to you, but my proof of concept short film ended up winning the audience award in Cannes.
Holy shoot!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a moment. It was a moment, a pretty big moment. Yeah, it was incredible.
That is
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
How did that? So I gotta ask, because I've
Yes.
never been. I mean, I've been to Cannes, but I still haven't competed in anything.
Sure.
What kind of preparation goes into an awards campaign like?
Well, I mean, the preparation that starts from in terms of thinking about just the overall marketing, the image, the poster, all of that just begins early. Period. I think personally, it's interesting because I'm working on 2 feature films right now, and I've been working on the posters for those.
Oh, no.
Conceptual, the conceptual look, because you have to have that in your mind. So I just think all of that starts super early, and then excellent. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yes. I didn't realize. No, it's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
And they should be by just a couple of minutes, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
So I just think that, you need to start that as soon as humanly possible, number one. And then number two, in terms of Cannes, so the whole thing is about letting us amplification, right? Letting as many people know as humanly possible, first of all, that you're going, that your film is in competition, and that, and then asking, are you there? Let's meet up, all of that. And I will tell you that I didn't sleep while I was there. It was just constant meetings, constant events, and all of it was absolutely fantastic.
Oh my God.
I literally met, in terms of, I even met more than these, but the people that I actually entered into my contacts, 53 people.
Whoa.
And I was there. It was I was literally in Cannes for about 4.5 days because because flying is a day and a half combined round trip. So it was 6 days total, a day and a half of travel, 4.5 days in Cannes. I met 53 new humans, not including others that were part of something else. Right. But anyway, I met 53 new humans. So I literally entered into my contacts, which was crazy. But then just talking about it, just telling people constantly, telling people. Yeah. That's all part of the process, and building up the anticipation and posting as much as possible as you can on social media while you're there. And then, of course, the win is a whole other thing. And now, amazing. You're awesome.
No, you're off.
Thank you. And I think I might just get a salad, quite frankly.
So congratulations again on Cannes.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking about how best to leverage that, right, in terms of amplification. I mean, of course, I put it on socials and LinkedIn, but now it's just a matter of everybody knowing as much as humanly possible. So I'm thinking about how best to do that, and I'll use socials for sure. But just in terms of the images and the messaging, I'm thinking maybe, because that particular short, and which is something that we definitely will talk about. So it was a So it's basically a television series that I conceived and developed during COVID. And then I wrote, directed, and produced the short. I wrote, okay, let me go back.
Okay.
I developed a television series during COVID. I decided to make a proof of concept short, but a standalone short.
Right.
And so then it was a matter of, okay, so what story am I going to tell in the short that represents the television series, which is, that's a process within itself. But anyway, I came up with something that I was really happy with, and then ended up directing that. And then that's become an award-winning short, which is, wonderful. And it helps, all of that really helps. And it's just been a matter of just people actually seeing that and getting super excited about it. So it's called Confessions. And so it's set in present day, but it's about a 500-year-old fallen angel. He committed a sin as an angel while, he was murdered. And his murderer happens to be his best friend, who was obsessed with his wife, also killed the wife by accident, but framed our angel. And then the best friend goes after after the angel kills him, and that's how he goes to heaven. But in angel form, he has vengeance in his heart, so he comes back and he haunts his best friend.
Oh.
And his best friend ends up committing suicide. So now this is the sin that he commits as an angel. So therefore, he is banished from heaven. And now he's been on the earth for 500 years, roaming, but he was given a penance. And his penance is to find sinners with either deep, dark-seated sins that they have to take action on to right their wrong, to atone, or it's sinners that are about to commit a sin. So he basically needs to stop them, compel them not to commit the sin, and for those that already committed the sin, to compel them to go back and right their wrongs, because that's the only way that they can atone for their own sins.
Interesting.
So he has, there's 1,000, basically, there's 1,000 of these that he has to fulfill.
Yeah.
And he's about halfway through, but he's lonely. He's having a crisis of faith. He's still pining for his wife, who he believes is in heaven. But the only way that he can get back to heaven and to reunite with his wife is by fulfilling his penance. So that's the concept of Confessions. He has a whole present day existence as well, but that's basically the engine that drives the series forward.
Right.
And then in the proof of concept short, there is one sinner story that we see him attempting to compel this sinner to take action on righting their wrong. Yeah. So that's Confessions.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And so you made the short, went to Cannes, won the audience award.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you. And then I'm currently packaging that as a television series. So I'm working with Tim Kring, who's a very well-established showrunner. Tim Kring, yes, he.
Was he behind the Batman animated series? It sounds familiar.
Well, he created Heroes. That's what he's best known for.
Way off. Okay.
No. But still, I mean, you were in the world. You were in the genre, superhero. So I mean, he's had 8 different shows on the air, but probably Heroes is his best known show. And so he's he's part of the team as an executive producer, and then we've been meeting with an independent television studio called Dynamic Television. So we've been speaking with them and to see if they're interested in coming on board. So the discussions have been going very, very well. So if we solidify then that partnership, then there'll be the studio, the independent studio, and then there's another partner. There's another producer who's coming on board on the team, and then we'll look at talent and bringing on talent, and then we'll be ready to start pitching it.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow, you've got a full plate ahead of you.
And that's one project.
Yeah. And you originally got started in video games and multimedia games, right?
Video games, multi-platform storytelling. Yeah, I'm from New York originally.
Yeah.
And I grew up drawing, painting, and writing. And I went to art school first. Yeah.
Can I ask, did you grow up in one of the boroughs or in upstate?
I was born in the Bronx.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Born in the Bronx. My family we ended up moving to a New Jersey suburb years, some years later, but yeah, Bronx origins. Although my parents my grandparents, they immigrated from Puerto Rico to New York, to the Bronx. And my parents were born in Puerto Rico, but they were very young when my grandparents brought them over. So my parents are very Americanized, although they're still very Puerto Rican for sure.
Yeah.
But they're very Americanized. So I call myself like 1.5 generation, although technically I am first generation because my parents were born in Puerto Rico. But and then of course Puerto Ricans are American citizens. But yeah, so Bronx origins, yeah.
Very cool. And you said you went to art school. Was that for college or?
Yeah, that was college. Although I was always extremely adept in art, and when I was in junior high school, actually I attended a graphic design program on the weekends at the new school. At the new school. Yeah, at the new school. Yeah, this was like a high school. Well, I was technically in junior high school, but
wow.
yeah. I was just really always extremely adept in art, and I grew up drawing, painting, and writing. Thank you so much. So so that was one of the things. That was one of the events, a milestone that really, I guess, propelled me forward in pursuing art. So then I went, after I graduated high school, I went to FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology, where I studied fashion design and graphic design.
That's so fun. And my friend Mercedes actually went there.
Yeah. It's an amazing school. And so then I worked in the garment district as a fashion designer for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I designed for Donna Karan and Calvin Klein and a whole host of others. I loved the work, but I hated the people. And yes. And around this time, I was very much interested also in storytelling, really pursuing storytelling. Yeah. And I was very much involved in music also. I was DJing.
Oh, wow.
And then I was shooting music videos. And so I decided to go back to school.
Now,
and
I find when talking about these life stories, the timeline is always important because, as professionals, we tell these stories, but we kind of gloss over the timeline, so it could have been 2 weeks or 2 years.
Yeah.
How long were you in the fashion industry for after FIT?
2 years, 2 to 2.5 years before I went to NYU.
Got it.
So, yeah, so I transferred my credits from FIT over to NYU, but I worked as a fashion designer. Yeah.
That's very.
And thank you. It was amazing. I ended up taking a summer class. But it was a accredited class at NYU for film, and it was really fascinating. I registered on the last possible day, and I couldn't do it online. At the times, I had to literally go down to the registrar's office.
Oh wow!
And the gentleman that I was speaking to, he said, "Hey, I highly recommend that you apply as for as a full-time student." Now, because if you don't do it now and you take this class and you really love it, when this was an accredited class, then you won't be able to apply as a full-time student until next year. So I took his advice and I applied, and then interestingly enough, the first day of that summer class, which was an intensive, I think it was like 5 days a week, and then you were just constantly shooting, but it was 6 short films in, I don't know, maybe it was like 6 weeks or something, and it was every single day.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so the first day of that class, which was amazing, and I knew that I was in the right place that first day. And when I came home that day, I received my acceptance letter from NYU. So I knew, that it was just all meant to be. So then, I was like, well, I'm gonna figure out how to make this happen. And so then I spent 2.5 years at NYU in the film and television program, undergrad.
Are there any professors at NYU you want to shout out as particularly influential for you?
Yeah, I mean, David Irving was amazing. Yes, thank you. And thank you.
Enjoy, guys.
Thank you so much. Sure.
Yes, silverware is important with salad and waffles.
For sure. Yes, that looks amazing. David Irving was fabulous, and there was another Arnold Baskin. It was another pivotal professor. Thank you. There we go. Thank you so much. So So then what happened was, so it was the film and television production. That was the major, and I had a concentration in directing. So
You were not messing around.
I was not
director from the get.
Totally. I was not messing around. Directing was my thing. And my senior thesis film ended up winning the Best of NYU. It got me a lot of buzz, and that's what got me out to LA. So, so
That's the senior thesis about.
it was called Thicker Than Water, and it was about thicker than water. And it was about a 30-year-old woman who comes back to town on the day of her father's burial. She's been estranged from her family, and family secrets abound. That was basically what it was about.
Nice.
And so it ended up, winning the Best of NYU, which was amazing, obviously. And and that's what started. That's what started it all.
That's incredible. In USC undergrad, we didn't really have senior thesis films.
Got it.
At USC, there was only the 480s, which was the class where 4 students, undergrad, would get chosen to get their films financed.
Okay. Well,
And
that's
then-
amazing.
Yeah, and then you would crew on those, and the idea was to teach you about crew and
Yeah.
teamwork.
Got it.
And it was only the grad students who could actually do like a thesis project.
Got it. Yeah. That's interesting. So as an undergrad, we made. It was constant. Constant shorts all the way through. In my time at NYU, I think I made about 8 shorts.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So they really. You have to do it, right? You have to do it to really learn it. So
So
they were firm believers in that.
nice. So your senior thesis got you out to LA.
Yes.
When you say it got you out to LA, you were invited out by a company or
Well,
agent?
it was in fact it was NYU. They have a showcase here. They bring the winning films here. And so through that process I met folks. And then I also realized that wow, like New York is incredible. I love New York. And New York has everything except for the business of entertainment, right? The business is actually done here. So I realized that I needed to, make the move. And so I met with a few agents, met with a few producers, and I knew that I needed to make the move. And then, and because I also had all of these, again, art skills, as I mentioned earlier, I started working at the in the digital departments of the studios, Universal, Disney, Sony, and so
Was it a lot of digital marketing work, or
it was digital marketing work for their IPs. Whatever was going to premiere, whether it was film, television, video game, comic books, music. The studios own so much music, and labels. And even theme park attractions, whatever was happening, it was my job to come up with a narrative, visual iteration that expanded that story and just provided an opportunity for the audience to engage with that narrative more in the experience of that IP. And so it was my job. So the form, like the mediums, were whether it was like digital series, game iterations, music player with experiences, animation, graphic novels that had interactivity. All of that.
That's really interesting because like a lot of, I know USC has this, Chapman also has this methodology. It sounds like NYU has this methodology where they just encourage you to crew on as many projects as possible, so you kind of understand a little bit of everything across all of the disciplines. And it sounds like also your first roles out of film school and in LA, well, also in that where you bought a a lot of, it was primarily in digital art, but a lot of experience across all disciplines. So you could see
Correct.
things were evolving.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's incredible.
You're absolutely correct about that. And there were so many things that I learned. First of all, how to adapt intellectual property, right? Which is huge. But also adapt intellectual property into various mediums, because every medium, as you just pointed out, Rich, quite astutely, every medium has its own set of rules and how it works. And if you're going to produce something that is exceptional on a particular medium, with podcast, right, included, then you have to understand the rules of that medium, so that therefore you can create something that's great, that's going to be better and be just an exceptional piece of content on its own, because it's made for that medium specifically.
Yes.
So that was one of the greatest things that I learned, was the different rules of various different mediums that I was working in.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think I will definitely include a link in the show notes, but one of the greatest things that I found online was actually, I think it was a stereo conversation you had with a transmedia expert.
Oh.
Someone who had developed like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise mythology. And you just talked with him for an hour and a half about just how to develop things specifically across transmedia for a specific genre and a specific medium.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then what happened while I was working in those digital apartments and freelancing all over town, because, I have the New York hustle. I work 25/7. So, freelancing, I was being referred also all over town, because I was, and even still, one of the few people that really know how to do that, in a way that works, quite frankly, because you have to build it properly from inception. Because if you're going to scale, like, just going back to Lucas with what he did with Star Wars, obviously he premiered that intellectual property with Episode 4.
Yes.
But he had done all of the development work in terms, like, he knew what that world was, he knew what that conflict was, he knew how it worked, and all of that mythology before Episode 4 was built in. And obviously, when you watch that film, you knew that there were more stories to be told, within that world, and also in different time periods, because they talk so much about the mythology, the past mythology. And you know what? And if there's that much of a depth of past, there's certainly going to be that much depth of opportunity for future stories. So, like, he did that well, because he did the development work, and the development work in the world, right? Because now we see every iteration of Star Wars, it's the Star Wars world.
Yeah.
And unlimited stories that are told within that world, with an unlimited amount of characters, right? We see that.
Yes.
So that's what you have to have in mind when you're developing your intellectual property, regardless of genre, by the way, regardless of genre. And it's just really a matter of establishing a world that has a mythology, and whatever story you're currently telling, that the present existence of that world and those characters that they're living in that present existence, that they are affected by the past.
Yeah.
So that's what's really important. Again, regardless of genre, it doesn't matter. If you do that well, and with the complication, the conflict, and the theme has to be big enough that then you can scale. So if you do that properly, then with success, obviously you have to have success, then you can grow it.
And I think a lot of people make the mistake that you can only do that kind of conversion with the more speculative genres, sci-fi, fantasy, horror.
Huge mistake, yeah.
Yeah, but Bridgerton turned into a multi-series, multimedia interactive franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And because it's the Bridgerton world.
Yes.
And with an unlimited amount of stories that can be told within that world. And that's basically, most creators are not thinking that way. And then therefore, when they have success, now they have to backtrack a bit.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, unfortunately, with whatever it's the next iteration. I mean, look, if they're just going in a linear fashion, okay, it's not always going to work, but okay. But if you realize, it's like, oh wow, like, I actually didn't establish the world as as deep enough as I could have, and now I need to do that work. So whatever it is that you are now ideating, that it has to pass the smell test, the sniff test, because the fans will know instantly.
Yeah.
And that's the problem if you don't do the work initially.
Yeah. Hence, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which kind of crumbled under the weight of them trying to do too much work in one movie. Right. So when you were doing digital marketing for the studios,
Yeah.
at one point did you like, okay, I need to be a master or mistress of my own destiny, and actually start making stuff and developing stuff? Like, or was that always something going on in the back there?
It was always something going on, and that really started because I grew up drawing and painting, and then writing. For me, the process of creating art was always making something, and there was a tangible result at the end. I could show what I made. So I was always ideating and developing, but with while I was working on all of those digital campaigns and just creating all of that work, what happened was that I was so engulfed in the client work, because then eventually what happened was that I started my own digital media production company with my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband. And thank you. And we built up that company very, very successfully, and now the studios and production companies and musical artists and actors, they became clients. Video game companies, they became clients of our company, and we were creating those digital experiences again for IP. But what happened was, although I was still like attempting to work on my own stuff, but I just got so busy with building up the company and the client work, which I loved, but I just didn't have time to tell my own stories anymore.
Right.
So, and this was around 2006, 2007 was when I knew that I really needed to make a change. And so I decided to go back to school because, first of all, television had also reached a whole other level of what was possible in terms of telling stories. And I really wanted to study long-form television, and I needed to remove myself from, being the face of my company and just constantly working, again, which I loved, but I just didn't have time. I didn't have time for anything else. So I decided to go back to school, and I ended up, I went to grad school. I went to UCLA. Don't hold it against me. Don't hold it against me. Went to UCLA, and specifically, and this was in 2008, was when I started, specifically because through their screenwriting major, they offered a 2-year concentration in television called the showrunner track.
Oh, wow.
And they had that program for about 5 years where it was a full curriculum, and it was an amazing curriculum. The first year, the focus was half-hour TV. The second year, obviously, was 1 hour.
Right.
And it was an incredible curriculum. So I did that, and I developed a lot of material, as well as, of course, still taking the screenwriting classes because I had to fulfill all of that.
Yeah.
And before I graduated, which was in 2012, my undergrad, NYU Tisch, they have a thriving alumni out here. Thriving. I mean, and they have events. They have a whole office here also. Yeah. And so they have their own programs, etc. So every year they have their own digital series lab, the way that Sundance has their digital programs.
Right.
So, anyway, so this was for alumni. And to make a long story short, it was like a 6-month commitment where you needed to produce 3 episodes of a web series. So I was selected for that. And I ended up winning that competition.
Nice.
Thank you. And it was a sci-fi action thriller starring Henry Rollins. And
wow.
Yeah. And the judges were NBC Universal Television executives.
Oh, wow.
So they really loved the show. And so then that ended. That resulted in me now getting a production grant from NBC Universal. And then I continued to make episodes.
And this was late 2000s?
This was in 2012, going into 2013.
Right.
And also then in 2014, I was invited So it was from 2012 to 2014 where I continued to make episodes.
Right.
And then I was invited from Sundance, one of their many myriad of things that occurred during that time at the festival. So I was invited by one of those things to present the web series. So while that was being presented, there were DirecTV executives there who really loved the show, and then the show ended up premiering on DirecTV, and it did really well in that space. And then the show was nominated for 2 Emmys in the interactive category.
Oh my God.
I lost to Game of Thrones, but I can live with that.
Yeah.
And then I've just been, I've been working in mostly television since, but a lot of other mediums. I mean, I was very involved in the virtual reality space, and of course, video game space. One of the things that I did actually during the strike, because I am a member of the WGA, as well as the PGA, obviously,
Right.
and also the Television Academy. Right. But one of the gigs that I had during the strike was that I show ran the writers' room for a brand new AAA narrative video game on the scale of The Last of Us. So that was fantastic, and that was 2 months. And that was amazing. But anyway, getting back to that time period. So in 2014 was when the whole being in contention for an Emmy, all of that happened. And then yes, I've been working in television mostly. And it's a lot of development. I've sold 7 pitches. They haven't gone to series because it's really hard to get that series pickup. Yep. But hopefully this one now, Confessions, hopefully that's the one that gets the series pickup. But I've sold 7 pitches. I get hired to do a tremendous amount of development work.
Right.
And
by managing artistic concepts, correct?
Yes, on the directing side. But for everything else, it is ensemble entertainment. Okay. Yeah, ensemble entertainment. Do a lot of development work. Actually, before I went to Cannes, I was in a development mini room, developing a show that was being pitched to Amazon. Yeah. So, Amazon had bought the show, but now this was the incubation of the show. So those ideas were being presented to Amazon. So that was, so that was great. And then also as a result of the strike and the strikes, my best friend who I met at UCLA, Ricardo, he was also in the TV, the television track. So, and we just bonded from day one, and we had always plans of building our own empire. Nice. So I basically turned to Ricardo and I said, you know what? This is the time. This is the time for us to build that empire, to build our own pipeline. Right. So we launched our company at the beginning of this year, Indigo Rain Films, and it's been going really well. And we're currently working on 2 feature films plus the Confessions television series. Right. So so one.
So when you say pipeline, do you mean technical pipeline or do you mean development pipeline?
Development through production, through marketing, through distribution.
Right.
Yeah.
An all-in-one job.
All in one. One of the things that I was really focused on during the pandemic was making establishing relationships on the distribution side, and I did that quite a bit, and really learning how that works, and also just in terms of specifics of marketing. In this new age, what works, especially when if you don't have all the money to throw at the wall for whatever sticks, because let's face it, that just isn't feasible. It's so damn expensive. So so how can you really market and build really build amplify and build a fan base and following. So I really, leaned into that and made just tons of relationships in all of those areas. So we have brought that into the company, Indigo Rain Films. So we basically work. It's 3 different aspects of the company, 3 lanes, I would say. So the first one is production services, straight up production services. Every service under the sun, whether you need budgeting, casting, obviously writing, directing, producing, development, marketing, distribution. All of that, and we help with financing also, and then so that's one lane, production services. The second lane is a client has a project and they don't know how to get it to the next level, right? So they come to us, whether it's a producer or not even necessarily they don't know, but they need help. I would say that actually more. They need help getting it to the next, just getting it, making it, whatever the case may be. So so it's either a producer with a project, or it could be an actor. Anyone that has a project. So that's the second lane, and our first project actually came through that lane. So that's one of the feature films that we're working on, and it's phenomenal. So Ricardo and I are currently working on the screenplay for that.
Thank you very much.
Working on the screenplay for that, and then we'll go into production on that. And then the third lane is our own slate. So we have our own slate, obviously. So doing everything there: development, writing, pitching, packaging, financing, et cetera. So that's those are the three lanes in terms of how we operate. And in this time, Rich, I work with Old Hollywood every day, but we also need to build our own pipeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask then.
Yeah.
In looking at my own experience, like especially with working with Old Hollywood, you mentioned earlier that you hustle 24/7. And I think a lot of the things that film schools don't teach, in some ways because they can't teach, is how to specifically schmooze, network, and get to top the pile within Old Hollywood so that you can be seen as a viable showrunner or head writer.
Yes.
And when you're actually looking at that kind of work, what is the process that you use to kind of, keep yourself visible with Old Hollywood? I've heard a lot of different advice, including like, remember birthdays and anniversaries and send cards to people on those. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but if I get an email from somebody wishing me a happy birthday and it's not on Facebook, I kind of get weirded out. Like, why do you know my birthday?
Right,
kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah.
But so with that being said, what is your strategy for approaching these? Is there a certain type of, is there a certain time of the year in preparation for pilot season? Is there a certain method that you'll reach out with?
Leave the list here whenever you're ready, but take your time. I'll get some more water for you.
No. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Great question. And I think you have to always be on that game. You just never know when you're going to meet someone that could be pivotal. But what is key is that whomever you meet, that you have to go with an open hand in terms of how can I help you? Because when you're coming at people, instead of asking what you want them to do for you, if you are literally offering to help them, or if you can provide some kind of solution and from a real place, so that I think certainly the intention for me always is to make a real human connection, and it has to be that, and you have to foster these relationships. So it's a constant always. If you remember someone's birthday, hey, I think that's fine. It's just a matter of how you reach out, but I think it's so much more than that. I think it's offering a solution and offering a solution, right? That people always need solutions. So if you're that person where you can support them in some way, how can I help you? How can I help you? Which, how many times do people really ask that, right? Sometimes they do, and I love it. But how can I help you? I think that goes a really long way. And it needs to be genuine. It just needs to be genuine. And then you have to really deliver on that, really deliver on that.
Yeah.
And so that's where it begins. And then in terms of, being very intentional, like, if you have a project and you really want to get to this specific person, then figure out how you can best get to that person that isn't scary, right? Do you have mutual, and most of the time, I always think that we're just like 1 or 2 degrees away from who we want to get to. I think we're super, super close. If you live in LA, I think you're super close to who you want to get to. And so how can you best do that? What kind of introduction, recommendation can you get? The referral, critical, right? The referral is critical. And then when you do meet with them, be able to, of course, tell your story, in a way that is different, unique, like what's really unique and different about you, make sure that that's coming forth. And also what your intentions are, right? Where you're going. And then again, how can I support you? Always, always, always really, really critical. So, I think you need to be strategic with a great sense of genuineness. Like it needs to be genuine. And that's what I think makes all the difference in the world. And then that's how you develop fans of yours, because you're also supporting them and it's real and it's genuine. And I think I just think that then you continue to build on that. Yeah.
The thing that I really love about that answer is it goes back to like the basics, and by the basics I mean Dale Carnegie's book How to Win Friends and Influence People, which was written over 100 years ago.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so it totally falls in that kind of realm of life. Yeah, just make sure that you can provide a solution and help people without necessarily thinking about helping yourself.
Always, always. And only goodness comes from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once the relationship is fostered, and you're having now just real conversation with someone that you've gotten to know, pretty well, then you can tell them what you need, what you're working on, what you need to get to the next step. And by the way, you definitely always be telling people what you're working on and what you need. Not that you're asking them to help, but they may be able to provide advice that unlocks doors, opportunities, etc.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the other thing, I learned that lesson, unfortunately, rather late, because with me, like, social media, I never really liked social media. I got on it because everyone kept telling me I had to get on it. And because a lot of my friends were comedians, I kind of fell into the trap. I fell into the trap of like, oh, I'm going to do the snarky status update that's going to seem funny, and that'll get me likes on social media.
Right.
The truth is, when you're a working professional, that is actually counterintuitive. In fact, using humor in that way undermines your position. And so what I just started doing was I basically only use social media to announce like recent accomplishments that I've had. And I've gone from posting on social media once a day to like once or twice a month. And it's certainly improved a lot of things. It's kind of improved the positivity in my own life.
That's great. It's amazing.
Yeah, because you're with that kind of daily exercise, you're also kind of retraining your brain. Another tool for that is, I don't know if you've heard about gratitude journals.
I've heard about them, and I have written in terms of just gratitude. I never consistently kept up with it, but I've heard of them. I love it. I would love to do it every morning or what have you, but yeah.
I got into gratitude journals. I'm in the complete same boat. Like, I have a notepad right next to my bed for that, and I do not do it as often as I should. I've probably done 2 entries in the last month, but the fact that I do it is just another way of retraining your brain to focus on positivity rather than snark.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's great. I think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Mindset is everything. It really is. I mean, you can take from being down, turn yourself around instantly by just changing your outlook, being grateful, just thinking about things that bring joy. Go on a walk, like all these different things really, really help. Even though, there's the reality of life. I mean, I think that we also we can't be out of touch, right? Like we still have to be in touch with reality, and and look, bills are real, and all of these different things.
Yeah.
And the bank account. I mean, those things are real. But at the same time, if we're I don't know, if you're in like a gloom and doom mindset, then that's all you're gonna see. So yeah.
Absolutely. There was another topic I wanted to ask you about, and Melissa actually recommended I ask you because you had particular insight to this, which was kind of Well, earlier you mentioned that you worked in fashion and you did not like the people.
Right.
And I actually, a wardrobe person that I worked with regularly, she also has kind of done some work in the fashion world, and she's talked to me privately about how it's very much not necessarily a boys' club, but definitely a popularity club. You're not from one of the major fashion institutes, then you kind of get shrugged out.
That makes sense.
And and that's certainly the case in Hollywood. And I'm wondering what has been your experience in Hollywood as a woman and as a woman of color.
It's hard.
Okay.
It's hard. I mean, it's harder. How about that? It's harder. It's already hard. Everything's hard, but it's harder, and you have to be better. You just have to be better. You have to be excellent most of the time, if not all of the time, and it's just harder, and that you have to be very strategic of who you're aligning yourself with, who can help me check the boxes that I myself am not checking, right? So building the right team, mentorship, like making sure that you can find the best mentors, and that's a whole organic, like that has to happen organically. I think it's, just to ask someone, will you be my mentor? I don't think that works most of the time. You're backing someone into a corner. But, I just think that happens organically, but I think mentorship is huge. And I think you have to really know what you want, and to create a strategy and a game plan of how you're going to get there. And your mentors can also, help you with that in terms of advice. Yeah, I think you have to just be extra strategic. That's been my experience.
Right.
That has been my experience. And at the same time, always be human, be you. I think also, again, what makes you different and unique, those are our superpowers. So bring them forth in a way that doesn't belittle anyone else or make them feel like they can't relate, to any of that. So I think first of all, be a human first. Yes, am I a woman? Yes, am I a Latina? Like, all of these things are my identity, my reality, my walk of life. But there are also so many other experiences that I bring, and then there is the humanity, right, of it all. So I think bring your humanity first, and through your humanity, that then you're able to tell, like, your particular perspective of a commonality that we all share.
Right.
So that's what I would say. And just, really align yourself with people that support you 1,000,000,000% and are in your corner to help you get to that next level. But no doubt that it is harder. No question. Yeah, I would definitely encounter roadblocks. Yeah.
What would you have changed if you had it to do all over it again?
That when I first got here, I just would have gotten on set. Any set, as become an assistant, get on set however you possibly can, because those relationships, it's just those. It's about doing the job and then doing the job excellent, right? Like being excellent and being that problem solver on set, being that person that brings the solution, etc. So, really shining once you get there, but just being on set and establishing those relationships. Like, if I had done that earlier, I have no doubt. I mean, it would have taken me on a different course, but it would have been fine. Like, that would have been the course that I would have taken. But that, I think, is just really critical. And for anyone who's breaking, like, just get yourself in front of other people, show what you can do, and be that problem solver. And it's not about you, by the way. You're there to help someone else's vision, and just really know that, embrace that, and be the best that you can. So that definitely would have been something that I would have done had I really understood the value of that at the time.
And that is Season 3, Episode 9 of the Producers Lounge podcast. Thank you to my guest, Evette Vargas, for joining us. You can find out more about her by checking out the show notes and by subscribing to our YouTube channel @GreaterGrander. Our intro and outro music today was Sideways Samba by Audionautix. Our episode still image is from Confessions by Digital Rain Productions. We'd love to hear from you, and you can check out this week's accompanying article on greaterandgrander.com entitled 5 Creative Advocacy Lessons I Learned from Rebecca Sugar and Why They Matter for Your Brand. Link in the show notes. You can stay up to date by following us on YouTube and social media at the handle GreaterGrander, all one word. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube or wherever fine podcasts are found. And also, if you like what we do, share this podcast with a friend who you think will enjoy it. Join us next week for more cocktails and questions, and until then, keep producing dreams.